G'day folks. Okay, heading into turn 2 of Salerno 43, and we return to the start of the sequence of play. And this time we have our first weather phase. So starting on turn 2, one player rolls a single die and consults the weather table. That roll is a 6. The weather table, oh no, bad news. It means that the weather advances 2 spaces and the Germans have their air unit available. Now I don't know if there's a space for this air unit. I'll just put it there. But it's only available on this sort of sea weather turn. Okay, it's going to be interesting. What else do we have? We have no Allied air units available, but the Allied naval units are available, which is pretty important given this early stage in the game. So collect all available Allied air and naval units placed in the boxes. The weather indicates an air and air that's not available. Flip it to its used side, otherwise the unit starts the turn on its ready size. Yep, that's done. We get 1 Allied supply point, 2 German supply points. So good turn for the Germans, but I've just been thinking, I don't know, oh, here's their artillery. Okay, so it's based there, that's important. We do need to keep that in mind. Okay, so I've adjusted the supply points and I can use them to flip ASUs to their ready side. So when does it happen? It happens in the supply phase, doesn't it? Yeah, so not right now. Okay, so heading into the German player turn. The German player, oh, here it is now. The German player has their initial phase. They use available supply points to flip ASUs in supply. Okay, nothing to worry about there because they didn't use their ASU last turn. They place reinforcements. Okay, so turn 2, wow, they've got a long list of reinforcements. Place reinforcements in friendly entry areas. Okay, so first of all, we have got 15th Panzer Grenadier coming in from the north. From the north, I might bring them in here so they can come in and block Sarno just down here. Yep. Then we've got some Fallschirmjäger, by the looks of it. HG Division. Okay. We've got HQ artillery, some infantry, and a silhouetted unit. And where are they going to head towards? Look, let's keep this formation together. So they're going to come down here as well, but they might follow this main road. Okay, so they're going to go, yeah, put them in the entry area, not the hex just yet. And then we have some units coming in from the south. We have the 29th Panzer Grenadier Division coming in from the south. I think they're going to use that main road again. So I'll put them again in one of the southern entry hexes. And that's it for turn 2. So they're off screen, but let me just show you what they are. 5 units here. Good defensive units, garrison unit with variable strength and so forth. Okay, restore German units using replacements. We have no replacements this turn, as indicated over here. Place Allied units in landing boxes. So I'll need to check a few things here. We have this floating reserve. And I think basically these are units that can be drawn, that can use naval transport to come into a port or a beachhead. Okay, so I've got a couple of ports captured. If they land adjacent to enemy units, so let's say they land in Salerno, they have that half efficiency marker placed on them. We have, landing a unit costs a certain number of landing points, and I think we get 12 points of units each turn. Okay, so I can think about, and I don't think this happens during the German turn. It says the German play turn, place Allied units in landing boxes on the Allied play turn only. Yes, I'll do that in a moment. I can think about what I want to place there. Now we're to the German movement phase. And someone commented on the first video that I need to be more aggressive with the Germans and utilise their elite status. So this unit here, because they've got an elite status, they get a shift to the right. We now have German air power, so there's another shift to the right. And I've also got this artillery here, which will give me another shift to the right. So I could try to smash into the Allies just there. What are my priorities here? Priorities are keeping the Allies in the valley. I do not want them to break out. Okay, so that's, I think, priority number one. Not letting them break through any of these. Like, you can see these little roads here. They weave everywhere. So I'll need to kind of reorganize some of my defenses somehow. Yeah, that's priority number one. Not letting them break out. We've got a garrison here. They can hold there. We've got more units coming from the south, so they'll really help out in the south. I'm trying to pull back a bit so you can kind of see the bit of the road network down here. This is the boundary between the 5th Army and the 8th Army, which will come into play later on. The second priority is preserving German force strength, because I'm worried. I mean, they're on the defensive. Attackers, the attackers get to choose their avenue of advance, and I'm just worried about German replacements and losses, and I want to, as much as possible, retain fighting force strength in effect. So I don't want to whittle away my early forces on poor attacks. Okay, so it's about, and third priority is conversely reducing the Allied strength. Okay, so if I can launch a couple of key counterattacks to reduce the Allied strength, to punish them early for being in the open, not setting up their defenses well, then that'd be good. So you really got to pay attention to the road networks here, because there's little trails, secondary roads through the mountains here. And I think I want to kind of pull these back 1, 2, 3, 4, just into the mountains there. Just to, I mean, they're going to have to launch an attack on that hex if they want to get through. And then we'll have some other units coming up from the south. These guys were disrupted in the Allied player turn. Tactical, if they're disrupted, tactical movement only, no Zockbond, and yeah. So they can still kind of move. They might sort of just tack move into there. Yeah. So they've lost a step. We'll get these Fallschirmjäger to come 1, 2, 3 down here and hold Alta Villa Silentina there. That's an objective point. Again, trying to just contain the Allies in the valley. This is a good defensive position. But I'm kind of wondering, do I try and pull back? Let's see how far I can get. Let's bring on these reinforcements from the south before I do anything further north of here. Okay, so they're coming in on this primary road, and I can even use extended movement. Let's see how far they can get. So these are mechanized. 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. Okay, so you can see where they are. 5. I could do an extended movement and push them in to here if I wanted to. Five, they get 2 extra movement, 3 extra movement points. So I could go 1, 2, and that creates a Zock bond there, which prevents the Allies from moving into Persano, which really makes this an even more a stronger position. So yeah, I'll do that. I will also reinforce it, bring 2 units down there. Actually, hold on a sec. It was 5 to there. I could go 6, 7, 8 and put a unit there, but that would make them, that would be pretty vulnerable sitting just there. I like the idea of keeping this division together. They've actually got 2, the artillery, ASU, and this, what looks like a headquarters unit that has artillery with it. So we've got sort of core artillery and divisional artillery, and this can be fired normally. That alternates, I believe, with the naval artillery. So you're using either one or the other. For our purposes here, I think it doesn't really matter. I'll keep these guys close to the 29th. And as a core artillery, we'll keep these guys sort of in the center. They've got a slightly larger range as well. Now, there's this garrison unit also coming in from the south. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe I'll get them just along these roads here, just to back up, maybe even the primary road up here. So the primary road doesn't stretch all the way to the map edge. It turns into sort of a trail around here. So I can come in and go, I think it is half a movement point to move along that secondary road. It's a motorized unit, mechanized unit, so yeah, half. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I might just hold there. 5. No, we'll go one further. 6. Okay, so I can't go adjacent to the Americans up here, but I can hold this position, and it gives me some flexibility to go hold this main road or to shift to the right if need be. I'm worried about this because this is a very weak garrison. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, so that's the situation down in the south. Now we start to shift north. Happy with this position here. I'm thinking I might get an attack off on these guys from the 56th Division. They're not in a position to attack. How do I recover disruption? I think I need to pull back away. So I need to move. So they're disrupted. They won't automatically recover disruption. I think you need to make a die roll. Recovery. It's a recovery rally table. And you need a 5 or a 6, plus 1 if they're elite. So we're looking at a 4 or more to recover. The penalties for being disrupted, I mentioned just a moment ago, but in terms of combat, their defense strength is halved. Okay, so if I can just pull them back 1 hex, then I think they'll automatically recover disruption. All friendly disrupted units that are not in an easy recover 1 level. Okay, so we'll do that. They're stationary. They are holding that point there. Look, I might move these guys. They might come in this road. So they're in this area, but they can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts them in a vulnerable position, I know, but stops any advance out of Salerno. They'll have to fight their way out. And they've only got, I mean, this is going to be in the hills, which will double my defense to 6. So they'll have, at most 1 to 1 before modifiers. Actually, you know what? It might be better off just pulling them back to here so they're out of range of that naval artillery. Yes. So that's basically the naval artillery range kind of runs 2 hexes. These guys will try and hold as much as possible. I don't like having them there because they're an elite unit. Yeah, they're elite, but they're holding that point. Okay, so now we can bring this formation on, and they've got a strength. They've got movement of 5, so we can go 1, 2, and they can maybe combine their HG, so they're the same formation. We'll bring in these guys. Now, if they move, oh, okay. So, what's the rule with artillery? There's rules for artillery. If they move, it's a reminder. If they move more than 1 hex, they are disrupted. No, it wasn't these guys. It was those two. So they move far more than 1 hex. It just means that they can't fire this turn. They'll recover disruption at the end of the turn. Same with this formation. 1, 2, 3. I might put them up in. Actually, I might leave them there. No, we'll pull them back 1 more. And they are disrupted. And it's just a reminder, they're disrupted if they move more than 1 hex. As a reminder that they can't shoot that turn. Yeah, they'll recover that at the end of the turn. So next turn they'll be able to shoot and act normally. Any other German movement to do? They can't move until turn 3. These guys, the garrison unit. Look, I may as well move them up to Sano as well. So, can I go 1? Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 using extended movement. Okay. So I've got garrison in Sano. They're decently strong in Torre Annunziata. Okay. That's my movement done. All Germans are on the map. Okay, so now we get to the German combat phase. So the strength here is 2 to 6, 1 to 3. I am elite, which would push it up to 1 to 2. I'm not even considering an attack here. Holding here, holding here. Holding there. Here, however, I've got 5 on 4, and they're out in the open. Okay, 5 on 4. Our armor is mutual, 3 armor factors, 3 armor factors, so we're tied there. But I have elite status. And artillery. So I will fire that artillery, so that gives me 2 shifts to the right. So we've gone from 5 to 4, 1 to 1. 2 to the right becomes 3 to 1. Just double check, tank shift, air support, not using my air support. I know I have it. I'm not using it in this combat. I'm saving it for up here in the north. Yep. Okay, so we are using our divisional artillery support. Yep. And an elite shift. No other modifiers, no defender shifts. We roll 3 to 1. 5 is an A1 D1 result. A1 D1. Both sides lose 1 step. Okay. Ooh, geez. Do I lose my armor or lose my elite status? I think I'll lose my elite status. Yeah, they both provide a shift, but it's pretty much exactly the same net result. I lose 2 combat strength, I lose 2 combat strength. Probably easier to replace the infantry than it is to replace the armor. A1, D1. The allies will just lose their infantry as well. Surviving defenders must either retreat 2 hexes or conduct a determined defense. They will retreat 2 hexes because they don't desperately need to hold this position. The attacker may advance if the defender retreats. They will not advance, they will hold. Battipaglia. Okay. Germans would have liked pretty much anything else but that result doesn't matter. Okay, and up in the north here, we will have an attack on this formation here. Oh, wait, did I... Yep, they're fine. Just making sure that there's one attacking force. So we have got 5, 6, 7 on 4. 7 on 4. Their elite status is cancelled out because these defenders are elite. That's just checking that. So if the defender doesn't have elite, then yeah, they get the elite status because the elites cancel out. Defender never gets the elite bonus by themselves. Only the attacker can get the elite bonus, and it's only if the defender doesn't have elite status. So I'm just going to shift the camera up so we're a bit closer to what's going on. We have got, here's the ranges. 5, 6, 7 on 4, 1-1. This is where I'm using my air, German air. Now becomes 2-1. It is in the clear. And that's all we have. So 2-1 in the clear. A roll of 3 is a dis result, which is the defender is disrupted. Disrupted. No retreat or advance, and no step losses. Just a disruption. I'm pretty happy with that. It puts the Allies in a bit of a difficult position in that area. That's all the combat that's taken place for the Germans. They've used their air. They've used their available artillery. They are happy with that, I guess. Happy as they can be. Combat is done. Okay, recovery phase. All German units that are disrupted and not in an EZOC recover 1 level. And that includes that artillery. So they now recover disruption. Moving down here, they've recovered. These guys down here have recovered. All replacement, half efficiency truck markers are removed. There were none of those. The supply phase. Check the supply status of all German units. Everyone's in supply. Spend SPs to flip ASUs. Okay, so this is where I can go. 1 to flip that. And we're done. The Allied player turn. Okay, so the Allied initial player turn. Use supply points to flip ASU. So let's spend 1 to flip that 36 Division ASU over. Let's place Allied reinforcements. Okay, so this is where I get 12 points worth. What do I want to land? Maybe some British artillery up in the north. So might. Okay, looking at the situation here, would be good to capture Battipaglia as a priority, I think. Well, okay, let's look at my broad priorities here. What are the Allied priorities? Getting out of the valley, trying to open a pathway beyond, and where can they do that? Where can they crack open some of these German defences? This looks quite vulnerable, this pathway through here. It'd be good to clear the Germans out of this valley here. Got 3 artillery pieces here, so if they can get out of the valley and start moving east, supporting the Rangers up in the north would be good. I am less concerned with the situation down here in the south, so I'm kind of leaning more towards bringing on British units. Okay, so they've got 3 ASUs and an infantry brigade. And then the Americans are good on the attack, just comparing the 2 there. Okay, so landing point values. A 3 stacking units, and it costs 3. We'll bring on some artillery as well from the 46th Division. That's 0 stacking units, so it costs 1. So it's a total of 4 landing points. And okay, that's 4. Then I think we bring on some Americans, because I don't desperately need ASUs at the moment, because I don't have the supplies to replenish them if they do fire. So let's think about some 45th Division. Don't need the engineers. Armor would be good. They're anti-tank, so don't need those right now. I need some more offensive armor. Okay, so looking at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 landing points, 10 landing points, 10, and I think that's 11, 12. I think they're 1 point stacking. I'll double check that. Silhouetted units, I'm pretty sure only count. I'm sure there's a table summarizing this somewhere. Probably under stacking. Silhouetted units can stack for free. It counts as 1 stacking point, which would be 1 landing point. So I believe that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 landing points worth of units. And I'm going to do a port transfer, a naval transport. I don't know what it's called. Naval transport n/port transfer. Units using naval transport must be in good order. They must use tactical unit. They have their attack strength halved and are limited to an advance after combat of 1 hex on the turn they land. That's if they basically go adjacent to enemy forces. Okay. Okay, port's capacity is a white number. So for example, I could land, there's these ports up here, I could land that artillery piece there. This is a 3 stacking point value unit. Bridgeheads have a value of 3, so I can land that unit right there. And what did I say they had? They had, okay, they can move 1 extra hex there. They are going to be, sorry, they've moved. That artillery piece has moved. Actually, I'll bring that artillery there. It's the 46th Division artillery, and this is the 46th Division, kind of in the north area here. Actually, I'll throw them straight into Salerno. That's central to all this area. Range of 4 is a good place to have them. And now the Americans. So again, 3, what have we got here? Bridgehead, bridgehead, 2 bridgeheads here. So 3 and 3. Let's land our infantry 3 and a 2 and a 1 there. Okay, so I've filled up the bridgeheads. Can I land the Americans? For example, if I go there and then can I land the Americans at a British beach? Value. Salerno's capacity is reduced to 1 if there's a German unit within 2 hexes. So they've only got a landing capacity of 1. That's fine. I landed a 1 capacity unit, so I didn't break any rules there. I'm not sure. I can't see anything saying that I can't land American units on a British beachhead, although they can't attack together. So British and American units don't want to attack. They can defend together. I'm pretty sure they can stack together as well. I'm sure I read that. I just don't remember where I read that. Okay, US units may not participate in attack. If stacked together, they may defend together. They may form Zoc bonds with each other. Yes, so I can land. I can't see anything saying I can't land here. And then I'm going to move down to the south here to try and join the rest of our forces. So beaches here at capacity. Okay, so we will move these guys up 1 extra hex as well. So they've landed 1 extra hex in there. They landed last turn. So they landed turn 1. These guys have just landed. So they land and then attack move 1 extra space. That's two hex attack move. 1 onto the beachhead plus 1 additional space. one onto the beachhead, one additional space. That's how they're moving. This armoured unit though, so they've moved, and that's most of it, I think. Okay, so thinking of how to get through here, I can. Oh, wow, I'm already kind of like, do I keep the pressure on here or do I suddenly shift? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to suddenly shift down to the south here and try and hit this garrison. I'm going to bring these guys up into the hills. 1, 2, 3, normal movement. I don't think they're going to be too vulnerable there. Strength of 4 against 2, but in the hills it'll be doubled. It'll be 1 to 1 basically. And these are anti-tank as well. So they're only used on the defense, that 3 value. So yes, doing that, and I do have my artillery landed now. They've landed. We will stay there, okay, because I've got Zockbond here, Zockbond along there. Not keen to attack these hexes here, or this one just yet. Yep. So shifting to the north, I'll keep this formation here for now, holding the road to the beachhead. Let's try and clear this road up here. So I'm going to get this tank unit, this silhouetted unit, just to go 1, 2, 3 up there. We will keep them, we can do a tack movement there, like so. I could also do a tack movement like so as well, just to kind of, just to get, put some pressure on the Germans to retreat. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I can tack move from Zock to Zock. Land movement, tack movement. Must stop upon entering an E-Zock bone. Cannot cross the Zock bond. There's no Zock bond there, so yeah, I can do that. But then it must stop because they've entered now a zone of control. When you enter a zone of control, even though they've left a zone of control, they're going zone of control, they stop there. All right, in Salerno, let's drive these guys up the valley, keeping our artillery behind. Let's send our commandos up the valley as well. And we'll keep these guys there and hope, let's actually reinforce them a bit and hope that they recover. All right, so I've got strong defenses in that area now on this little pass here. And that is movement done. This is my floating reserve. Everything's looking good. Okay, movement is complete. Now we head to the Allied combat phase. Okay. Combat. Here, all right, let's do termination of their defense first. They roll, it's a 0, they are removed. And what is my advance? So that is exactly what the Allies were hoping for. This is a variable strength movement, a variable strength unit. I need to find the rules for variable strength units. 19.3. If it was the only defending unit, treat it as achieving a DS result. All right, so the Allies have secured a DS result in that area. Defender shattered. Made advance to 4 hexes with mech units and 2 with non-mech. Okay, so I can kind of go 1. And I could really drive, but big risk of being cut off. I could do breakthrough combat. I could risk it. 2 hexes with non-mechanized units. So they're non-mechanized. So they could go 1 extra hex. They could kind of come down here, for example. This big mountain pass here is going to be difficult for the Germans to cross. Right? So their mech units will not be allowed to cross into it. The infantry would, but it's a reduced infantry, which wouldn't threaten me too much. And I do have this big infantry regiment coming up in behind. So these guys can move 2 extra hexes. I could go 1, 2 and really look to exploit. 1, 2, and then I could kind of just move like that. So the infantry could cross the mountain. What's the movement cost for getting across a mountain? It's a hill, which would cost only 1 movement point. Well, +1 to cross the mountain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They could cut me off. Yep, they could cut me off, but the mech unit couldn't. The mech unit would have to come down. Or I could just hold like that. If I hold like that, then they're not going to cut me off. They could still cut me off by going like that, but... Or I could do 1, 2, 3. Look, I'm just going to keep them together. How about that? Don't do anything risky. Yeah, I'll do that. Just hold there, I think. Play it safe. Because it's not a big exploitative force. They're sort of slow moving. All right, so that's the only combat there. No combat here. Combat here. Okay, so I have got 15, 16, 17, 18 against 6 because they're in a mountain. I have no elite units. We don't worry about the defenders' elite units. Defenders don't get that elite bonus. I do have armor, and they do not. But tank shift is not possible. Tank shift is not possible in the hills. Okay, so armor doesn't matter because they're in the hills. So I'm still looking at 3 to 1. 3 to 1, no tank shift, no air support. We are just out of range of naval support. I do have my artillery here, but that'll push up to a 4 to 1, but I'm not going to use it. So I'm just going to stick with 3 to 1, no modifiers, see how we go. 3 to 1, 6 is a D1 result. The defender loses 1 step. Okay, it's a 3-step unit, a weak 3-step unit. And they must retreat 3 hexes or conduct a determined defense. At this stage, I kind of think they want to retreat. So they're going to retreat 3 hexes. First hex can be into his own enemy zone of control. 2, 3. So they can retreat up to that pass, like so. I could have conducted a determined defense there, but it's in other terrain. They're not elite anymore. And the combat result, I wasn't orange, but I'd need basically a 5 or a 6 to hold, which would cause me to lose another step. And the Americans are, I mean, the British are already kind of looking to exploit beyond there. So yeah, we'll pull away. Okay, we could conduct combat here, but that's going to be tough. That's 7 defense in that area, so we'll ignore that. We will, however, attack this city, Nocera Inferiore, and we've got a strength of, we cannot do combined attacks. We can't combine the ranges with the commandos. And I don't want to attack. Oh, yeah, no, we won't do anything up in that northern area. We'll wait for the main force to come up through Salerno. Okay, so just the commandos and the rangers holding their position for now. We didn't use our naval support. We've already kind of moved beyond their range in most areas except down here on the coast. Okay, so now recovery phase. We can attempt to rally disrupted units. So we do have these units down here. They are elite, so it's +1 Now, do I roll per hex or per unit? I'm just going to double check that. I will say the index is perfect for this. Everything I've tried to search has been in the index. You know, when you're searching for a phrase like rally or tactical movement or variable strength units, they're all in the index. Okay, so all friendly disrupted units that are not in an easy AOC recover 1 level. I've only got these guys up here. They roll a die on the rally table. They need a 5+, but it's +1 because they're elite. So 4 or more. Ooh, it's a narrow failure. So they are still disrupted. That's okay, because they're kind of just holding that position anyway. We get to the supply phase. Everyone is in supply. There's nothing unusual happening. I have no supply points left. Where's the British? They're all using the same army marker. It's all part of the 5th Army. Victory check phase. That's the end of the turn. Automatic victory is checked. Where are we? Okay, so we're not tracking victory points yet. This is the benchmark number at the bottom of the turn track. So from turn 4, the Allies must have, well, this is their benchmark. They lose if they are 5 below that. So if they've only got 1 victory point when they need 6, they automatically lose. If they've got 11, is it 5 or more? So I think if they've got 11 victory points, they automatically win. If they ever hit 20, it's an automatic victory for the Allies. Okay, so folks, that's the end of the second turn. Again, I'll stop the video here and continue pretty soon with turn 3. Let me think about what's happening here. We've still got some floating reserve. We don't get more Allied units until turn 5. So once this floating reserve comes on, that's all we've got. And then even in the end, turn 5 isn't great. Turn 6 isn't great. We're really... I mean, they're strong units, but there's not many of them. So the Allies have a small number of strong reinforcements. The Germans tend to have a larger number of weaker units. Some strong units. They've got the 15th Panzer Grenadier, a regiment coming on with a 695, 9 defense next turn, but most of their other units are pretty weak. This area here looks to be somewhat ripe for pushing through. I can look at this road here. 1, 2, 3, for example, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll see what happens. Of course, it's a German turn first, so they'll have the opportunity to respond. Stay tuned, and I'll have more to come shortly. Thanks all.